partially understood. For centuries, people have puzzled over the Voynich manuscript, trying to discover its purpose, decipher its language, and understand its illustrations. However, despite numerous attempts, the manuscript remains undeciphered and its true purpose and meaning remain unknown. The Voynich manuscript is a mysterious and undeciphered document that has puzzled scholars, cryptographers, and historians for centuries. It is composed of various sections that suggest it was intended to address topics in medieval or early modern medicine, astrology, and cosmology, though its exact purpose remains unclear. The manuscript's folios are filled with intricate and often perplexing illustrations, as well as a script that has yet to be definitively deciphered. The astronomical section consists of 21 folios containing circular diagrams that appear to be related to astronomy or astrology. Among these are depictions of the sun, moon, and stars, as well as a series of 12 diagrams representing the zodiacal constellations. These diagrams feature symbols traditionally associated with the zodiac, such as two fish for Pisces, a bull for Taurus, and a hunter with a crossbow for Sagittarius. Each zodiac sign is accompanied by 30 female figures arranged in concentric bands, most of whom are at least partially nude. These figures hold or are attached to labeled stars by what seems to be tethers or cords. Unfortunately, the pages depicting Aquarius and Capricornus are missing, and the diagrams for Aries and Taurus are split into 4 paired diagrams, each containing 15 women and 15 stars. Some of the astronomical diagrams are presented on fold-out pages. The balneological section spans 20 folios and is characterized by dense text interspersed with drawings of small nude women, some of whom are crowned. These women are depicted bathing in pools or tubs connected by a complex network of pipes. Notably, the bifolio formed by folio 78, verso, and 81, recto, creates an integrated design, with water flowing from one folio to the other. The cosmological section, consisting of 13 folios, features more circular diagrams, though their meaning is obscure. This section includes foldouts, one of which, known as the Rosette's folio, spans 6 pages. The Rosette's folio contains a map or diagram featuring 9 islands or rosettes connected by causeways, as well as castles and what might be a volcano. The pharmaceutical section comprises 34 folios and includes numerous labeled drawings of isolated plant parts such as roots and leaves. It also features objects resembling apothecary jars, with styles ranging from the mundane to the fantastical, as well as a few paragraphs of text. The recipes section, covering 22 folios, contains full pages of text divided into short paragraphs, each marked with a star in the left margin. The manuscript as a whole gives the impression that it was intended as a pharmacopoeia or to address medical topics. However, the enigmatic details of the illustrations have led to various theories about its origins and purpose. While the first section appears to be herbal, efforts to identify the plants have largely failed. Some plant drawings seem to be composites, combining parts of different species. Astrological considerations, which were common in medieval medicine, are evident in the manuscript, though interpretations remain speculative. The manuscript's history is shrouded in mystery, with much of its early provenance unknown. Radiocarbon dating of the vellum places its creation between 1404 and 1438, and the materials used are consistent with that period in European history. Despite numerous attempts to decipher it, the Voynich manuscript continues to be one of history's most enduring mysteries. The Voynich manuscript, a mysterious and undeciphered text, has a complex and somewhat fragmented history. The first confirmed owner was George Baresch, a 17th-century alchemist from Prague, who referred to it as a Sphinx due to its enigmatic nature. Baresch, puzzled by the manuscript, sent a sample of its script to Jesuit scholar Athanasius Kircher, who had a reputation for deciphering Egyptian hieroglyphs. Baresch hoped Kircher might provide some insights, but it's unclear if Kircher ever responded. After Baresch's death, the manuscript passed to his friend Jan Marek Marcy, rector of Charles University in Prague. Marcy sent the manuscript to Kircher along with a letter, expressing his belief that only Kircher could decipher it. The letter also mentioned that Dr. Raphael Sobiernishevsky, a tutor to Ferdinand III, believed the manuscript had belonged to Emperor Rudolf II and that Rudolf had purchased it for 600 ducats, a significant sum at the time. The manuscript eventually ended up in the hands of Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish book dealer, who acquired it in 1912 from the Jesuits at Villa Mondragone in Frascati, Italy. The exact path the manuscript took from Kircher to Voynich is unclear, with a gap of about 200 years in its documented history. However, it's believed that the manuscript remained in the Collegio Romano's library, which was later moved to Villa Mondragone when the Papal States were annexed by Italy. Voynich spent the next several years trying to interest scholars in deciphering the manuscript, which now bears his name. After his death, the manuscript was inherited by his widow Ethel Voynich, and later by her close friend and Nil, who sold it to Hans P. Krauss, an antique book dealer. Krauss, unable to sell the manuscript, eventually donated it to Yale University in 1969, where it is now housed as Beinecke MS 408. The timeline of ownership of the Voynich manuscript spans several centuries, with its origins in the early 1400s, based on carbon dating of the vellum. It has passed through various hands, from alchemists and scholars to book dealers, and remains one of the most intriguing unsolved mysteries in the world of ancient manuscripts. The Voynich manuscript, an enigmatic tome with its cryptic script and peculiar illustrations, has long intrigued scholars and enthusiasts alike. Over the centuries, numerous candidates have been proposed as its potential author, including notable figures such as Roger Bacon, John Dee, Edward Kelly, Giovanni Fontana, and even the manuscript's namesake, Wilfrid Voynich himself. The early history of the manuscript takes us back to the court of Rudolf II, Holy Roman Emperor and King of Bohemia. In a cover letter dated 1665 or 1666, Marcy, a contemporary of the emperor, relayed information from the late Raphael Nishavsky. Nishavsky had claimed that Rudolf II purchased the manuscript for a sum of 600 ducats, an impressive amount of gold weighing 67.5 ounces, equivalent to over 2 kilograms. This transaction, rumored to have taken place well before Rudolf's abdication in 1611 and possibly as early as 1599 when books were purchased from Karl Weidmann, points to a high level of intrigue and value surrounding the manuscript. According to Nishavsky's speculations, the manuscript could have been authored by Roger Bacon, a renowned 13th-century Franciscan friar and polymath. Although Marcy was cautious about accepting this claim outright, Wilfrid Voynich took it very seriously. Voynich devoted significant effort to investigating Bacon's possible connection to the manuscript. In his quest, Voynich also considered another prominent scholar, Albertus Magnus, as a possible author. The narrative takes another twist with mathematician John Dee, known for his role as an astrologer at Queen Elizabeth I's court. Dee, who was reputed to have owned a vast collection of Bacon's manuscripts, might have been involved in a transaction with Rudolf II around 1600. Some conjecture suggests that Dee's scryer, Edward Kelly, might have created the manuscript as a ruse. However, historical records and Dee's detailed diaries cast doubt on this theory, as they do not mention any such transaction. The possibility that Voynich himself might have fabricated the manuscript has also been proposed. As an antique book dealer with expertise in rare texts, Voynich had both the knowledge and resources to create such a forgery. Critics argue that letters from Baresh and Marcy only established the existence of a manuscript, not necessarily the Voynich manuscript. Despite these theories, the manuscript's authentic dating and the 1999 discovery of Baresh's letter seem to disprove the forgery hypothesis. Eamon Duffy, an expert in the field, contends that the manuscript's radiocarbon dating effectively rules out any post-medieval forgery. The consistent quality of the parchment, which is believed to have originated from a single source and includes at least 14 or 15 whole calfskins, supports its authenticity and suggests it dates back to the early 15th century. Another intriguing candidate is Giovanni Fontana, an Italian engineer known for his fantastical illustrations. Fontana's works, including his book, Secretum de Thesoro Experimentarum Imaginationis Hominum, display cryptographic elements, although not the Voynich script. Fontana used a straightforward substitution cipher, contrasting with the complex script of the Voynich manuscript. His illustrations, while somewhat reminiscent, do not directly correspond with the Voynich's imagery. Thus, the search for the true author of the Voynich manuscript continues to captivate and mystify, as each theory unravels more layers of this historical puzzle. Yes, you did provide the paragraph about the Voynich manuscript's theories and discoveries. Here it is, without headings or chapter breaks. Before 1921, Wilfred Voynich made a startling discovery. Faintly inscribed at the foot of the manuscript's first page was a name, Jacob Tepenis. This reference is believed to point to Jakub Horsicki of Tepanek, also known as Jacobus Sinopius. A man of considerable influence, Jacobus was appointed imperial distiller and curator of Rudolf II's botanical gardens, as well as a personal physician to the emperor. Voynich, intrigued by this clue, linked Jacobus to the manuscript's previous ownership, thus connecting it to the court of Rudolf II and lending credence to Nishovsky's account. Despite Voynich's discovery, the name has since faded further but remains visible under ultraviolet light. This has led to speculation that the signature might have been added at a later date, potentially even fabricated by Voynich himself, raising questions about the authenticity of this connection. The manuscript's pages reveal intricate fold-out diagrams, hinting at deeper mysteries. A parallel to this enigmatic manuscript can be found in a curious incident involving Orientalist Andreas Müller. Müller once sent a cryptic text to Athanasius Kircher, claiming it was from Egypt, and Kircher, famously adept in deciphering such puzzles, reportedly solved it. Some speculate that similar cryptographic tricks might have been used to mislead Kircher and embarrass him. Raphael Nishovsky, who is credited with the Bacon theory, was himself a cryptographer. He allegedly invented a cipher he claimed was uncrackable around 1618. This has led to speculation that Nishovsky might have created the Voynich manuscript as a demonstration of his cipher, possibly involving Baresh unknowingly. The disclaimer in the Voynich manuscript's cover letter might suggest that Marcy suspected some sort of deception. In 2006, Nick Pelling proposed a new theory, that the manuscript was authored by the 15th century Italian architect Antonio of Urlino, also known as Filariti. This theory aligns with the manuscript's radiocarbon dating. Meanwhile, Jules Janik and Arthur O. Tucker, analyzing plant and animal illustrations and a Kabbalah map of central Mexico, suggested the manuscript was created in Mexico between 1562 and 1572, representing Nahuatl, the language of the Aztecs. However, this theory clashes with earlier radiocarbon dates and has faced criticism from other researchers. The manuscript's language, known as Voynichese, has sparked numerous hypotheses. One theory proposes that the text is a cipher, where the script represents a European language rendered obscure by a complex algorithm. This was the prevailing theory during the 20th century, with cryptographers like William F. Friedman attempting to decipher it. However, the distribution of letter frequencies and shapes in the manuscript does not align with known languages or ciphers. Joseph Martin Feely in 1943 proposed that the manuscript was a scientific diary written in shorthand, but this theory was widely rejected by scholars. Another theory suggests that the manuscript's text is meaningless, with hidden information embedded through steganography, an ancient technique described by Johannes Trithemius. This hypothesis posits that the meaningful content might be concealed in the manuscript structure, though this is challenging to verify. Statistical analyses reveal that the manuscript's text bears similarities to natural languages. For instance, its entropy aligns with that of English or Latin texts. Recent deep learning analyses have compared it to Kojiki script, a historical writing system. Linguist Jacques Guy once proposed that the text could be a natural language written in an invented alphabet. He initially suggested Chinese in jest but later considered Vietnamese and Chinese more seriously based on word length statistics. In 1976, linguist Child speculated that the manuscript might be written in an unknown North Germanic dialect, given its skeletal syntax resembling certain Germanic languages. In February 2014, Professor Stephen Bax used a bottom-up approach to translate proper nouns and suggested the text could be a treatise on nature. However, further research into Bax's findings has not progressed since his death in 2017. Tucker and Talbert in 2014 identified plants and animals referenced in the manuscript that matched illustrations in an Aztec herbal. They argued that the manuscript was composed between 1521 and 1576 in New Spain, though this contradicts earlier radiocarbon dates. Critics argue that the resemblance might be coincidental, and Nahuatl specialist M.P. Hansen dismissed their interpretations as nonsense. William F. Friedman considered the possibility that the manuscript could be a constructed language, similar to philosophical languages developed in the 17th century. However, this theory faced skepticism due to its historical improbability. The repetitive nature of the text and the lack of decipherable prefixes or suffixes remain unresolved issues. The manuscript's resistance to decipherment has led some to propose it might be a medieval hoax. In 2003, computer scientist Gordon Rugg demonstrated that similar texts could be generated using a Cardan grill, a tool used for encryption after the manuscript's estimated creation date. Although some argue that the grill method could mimic any language, others, like Andreas Schinner in 2007, suggested that the manuscript's statistical properties align with meaningless gibberish rather than with Latin or medieval German texts. In 1978, Robert Brumbaugh, a renowned professor of classical and medieval philosophy at Yale University, stirred academic circles by declaring that the enigmatic Voynich manuscript was merely a clever forgery crafted to deceive Emperor Rudolph II into acquiring it. Brumbaugh posited that the manuscript's cryptic text was Latin, encoded through a sophisticated two-step cipher, designed to bewilder and mislead. John Stoiko, in his 1978 publication Letters to God's Eye, stirred a notable debate by asserting that the Voynich manuscript was actually a collection of vowelless Ukrainian letters. This theory, which created a significant stir among the Ukrainian diaspora and later in independent Ukraine, proposed an intriguing link to Ukrainian linguistic heritage. Nonetheless, Stoiko's claims faced criticism due to the inconsistencies with the manuscript's date, the tenuous connection between the text and illustrations, and the somewhat erratic decryption methodology he employed. In 2014, Professor Stephen Bax, an expert in applied linguistics, ventured into the mystery of the Voynich manuscript with a self-published paper that offered a provisional, partial decoding. Bax identified 10 proper nouns and 14 letters from the manuscript, employing methods akin to those used in translating Egyptian hieroglyphs. He theorized that the manuscript was a treatise on nature, written in a Near Eastern or Asian language. However, Bax's work remained incomplete, and his death in 2017 left many of his claims unverified. Nicholas Gibbs, a television writer, made waves in September 2017 by asserting that the manuscript was written in a peculiar form of abbreviated Latin. Gibbs proposed that it served as a largely plagiarized guide to women's health. Despite initial enthusiasm surrounding Gibbs' theory, it was soon criticized for its lack of originality. Scholars, including Lisa Fagan Davis, the director of the Medieval Academy of America, dismissed his translation efforts as a patchwork of existing scholarship, highlighting that the Latin produced did not coherently align with the manuscript's content. Greg Kondrak, a professor specializing in natural language processing at the University of Alberta, along with his graduate student Bradley Hauer, applied computational linguistics to decode the manuscript. Their 2017 findings suggested that the manuscript's language might be Hebrew, encoded through alphograms, alphabetically ordered anagrams. Despite this innovative approach, medieval manuscript experts remained unconvinced by their conclusions, questioning the validity of their results. In 2018, Ahmet Ardik, an electrical engineer with a passion for Turkic languages, published a YouTube video claiming that the Voynich script represented a form of Old Turkic written in a poetic style. Ardik argued that the manuscript was written using a phonemic orthography, where words were spelled out phonetically. He claimed to have deciphered and translated over 30% of the manuscript. However, his submission to the journal Digital Philology was ultimately rejected in 2019. In 2019, Gerard Cheshire, a biology research assistant at the University of Bristol, generated considerable attention with his theory that the manuscript was composed in a calligraphic Proto-Romance language. Cheshire contended that he had deciphered the manuscript in just 2 weeks, using a blend of creative thinking and ingenuity. He proposed that the manuscript was a compendium of information on herbal remedies, therapeutic practices, and astrological insights. Cheshire also suggested that it was compiled by Dominican nuns for Maria of Castile, Queen of Aragon. In June 2023, Cheshire released his translation of a fold-out illustration on page 158, claiming it depicted a volcano and placed the manuscript's creators near the volcanic island of Volcano in the 15th century. Despite his claims, experts in medieval documents strongly disputed Cheshire's interpretation. Lisa Fagan Davis denounced his paper as just more aspirational, circular, self-fulfilling nonsense, criticizing the circular logic and speculative nature of his translation attempts. The University of Bristol subsequently distanced itself from Cheshire's claims, clarifying that the research was solely the author's and not affiliated with the institution or its medieval studies programs. As the search for the Voynich manuscript's secrets continues to intrigue scholars and enthusiasts alike, the debate remains as enigmatic as the manuscript itself. From Robert Brumbaugh's theory of a sophisticated forgery to John Stoico's vowelless Ukrainian letters, the quest to decode this mysterious text has seen a myriad of hypotheses, each adding its own layer to the manuscript's allure. Stephen Bax's partial decoding efforts, while promising, left many questions unanswered, and Nicholas Gibbs' controversial claims about abbreviated Latin and women's health, though initially captivating, were ultimately met with skepticism from the academic community. Greg Kondrack's computational approach suggested intriguing possibilities with Hebrew and alphagrams, yet his conclusions did not achieve universal acceptance. Ahmet Ardikes's proposition of a poetic Old Turkic script and Gerard Cheshire's ambitious claim of a Proto-Romance language have both fueled further debate, but neither has settled the manuscript's mystery. Cheshire's recent assertions about the volcanic imagery and the manuscript's origins have faced significant criticism, with experts labeling his interpretations as speculative and lacking in rigorous validation. The Voynich manuscript remains an enduring enigma, a symbol of the intersection between historical curiosity and modern scholarly pursuit. Each new theory and interpretation adds to the rich tapestry of speculation surrounding this ancient manuscript. As researchers and cryptographers continue to explore its depths, one thing is certain: the Voynich manuscript will continue to captivate and mystify, leaving its true meaning tantalizingly out of reach. The manuscript stands as a testament to human ingenuity and the relentless quest for knowledge, inviting us to ponder what secrets lie hidden within its pages and what discoveries the future might hold. As we conclude our journey through the mysteries of the Voynich manuscript, we'd love to hear your thoughts on the various theories we've explored. Do you think one of these interpretations might reveal the manuscript's secrets, or do you believe its true meaning remains hidden? Leave your comments below, and if you enjoyed this documentary, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Your support helps us continue bringing you intriguing stories and deep dives into history's greatest mysteries. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for our next captivating documentary.